All right, let me go to the next slide. So I discovered this the hard way. And guess what? Tonight you get to cheat off me and get the easy way. So listen, listen, listen. This is going to be juicy. The hard way. Okay, the process most people go through is giving a man everything that you think he desires. So whatever that may be. That could be sex, that could be emotional support, that could be financial support, that can be being just whatever he wants you to be and do. I see people trying to do that and conform. The next thing is then after you give him everything he wants, and then suddenly, like, oh, but he got another priority. But oh, now his children, or oh, by the way, his ex-wife, or oh, by the way, his job, and all these excuses start to come up, and he starts to pull away because he doesn't have time, aka he's no longer interested. And then step three, usually what happens is you start to question what just happened, and then it is over. You're feeling sad and blue. I'm feeling sad and blue. It's really not funny, right? Like it's. I'm sure you've been there. You know, if you experienced that, just say yes. I've experienced that. If you've been there before, you've experienced that. Just let me know. I definitely have experienced that more times than I care to admit. Really, just trying to conform and do all these things, and at the end of the day, still end up with the short end of the stick. Like nobody got time for that. So after doing this for nearly 10 years, I discovered what doesn't work. Listen up, get your pen, get your pen. Random tips and information is never enough. It just does not do the trick. It's just going to be you need a system. You need a system. What God gave me today, when in absence of a system or process, you have dysfunction. In absence of a system or process, you have dysfunction. So if you're trying to get a bunch of random tips from all these gurus and experts, and there's nothing that's coming together. It's nothing's cohesive. You have 10 different, you have pieces, bits and pieces of 10 different processes, but you don't have one streamlined way to move forward. Okay, that's the problem. That's one of the problems. Another thing is doing it alone is absolutely the hard way. I've seen people, let's just call it, suffer in silence for years trying to do it their own way, trying to just figure it out, and trying to let everything work out on its own. And usually it doesn't happen. It does not end up working out on its own. The third thing is, the third thing I see is the shortest route to success is to learn a proven process, then follow the exact steps to replicate that result. That's what you can do to manifest success a lot quicker. All right, let's go to the next slide. You want the easy way? Well, you'll find a process that works. If I give you a process that works, this is a question. Y'all ready for the question? Just say question. If I gave you a process that worked, would you follow it? That's the question. So I want you to type that down in the chat, depending on where you are. I want you to type that wherever you are. Let me know if I gave you a process on how to be successful in this area, if indeed you will follow it. All right, secret number one. The one thing women do that keep a man from putting a ring on it. If you wanted it, he should have put a ring on it. Hey, hey, hey. I'm actually not wearing my ring right now because it's been irritating because I keep it on all the time. Right. Hey, here we go. Hey, hey. If you wanted it, he should have put a ring on it. Right. So let's talk about it. The one thing that will keep him from putting a ring on it. Right there. That right there. You see that? Lack of confidence. Lack of confidence will absolutely keep a man from putting a ring on it, right? And so definitely don't want that. So you want to make sure that you're confident in who you are. You're confident on how you show up. And the truth of the matter is, and one thing I say oftentimes is some of the most beautifulest women are some of the most insecure women, right? So how can you're going to have to know what terms of preparing for marriage and avoiding not even being selected or not being selected by the caliber of men that you like. Then you have to build your confidence. Let me say this: if you fail to build your confidence, what happens is you're more vulnerable, and the type of men that you'll attract are men that will try to prey on your weakness, or men that will try to take advantage of you and see your areas of growth that's needed and the areas of healing that's needed, and they will exploit those areas for their own personal gain. And a lot of times result in being an emotionally, physically, sexually abusive relationship, or even worse, an emotionally destructive marriage, which is a marriage where someone's there trying to tear you down. So this is a essential thing, that you build your confidence and not have all that negative talk and even negative perception of who you are. Now, let me tell you how this whole thing festers out. So first you have the levels of insecurity, right? Which is maybe you don't like your nose, maybe you don't like your weight, maybe you feel like you didn't get the best education, maybe you feel like you're too dark, maybe you feel like you're too light, too tall, too short, too stout, whatever. There's that, right? And then because of that, you feel that you have this fear and doubt that you're not enough, and you have this fear and doubt that you're not going to be good enough, and that you have to settle, and that you have to lower your standards, and all these things are going in your mind. So this fear and the doubt and just uncertainty, because oh my God, what if he won't choose me, and I won't get the good guys, and I won't get the top guys, and I won't get the high paying guys, and I won't get the God fearing man, and I won't get this, whatever the thing may be. You feel like you have to give concession. Well, I'm not perfect, so he's not going to be perfect. And so all this is going on. And then on top of that, they are, that because of your insecurity that now has manifested into fear, doubts, and uncertainty about the future, it is the shame and dishonor and disrespect that happens, because it's like you're shame about being honest about whatever that thing is. And so you can't be transparent, and you can't manifest being most authentic. So then you're in an unhealthy relationship. That's one spectrum, and that's how you get to a place of unhealthy relationship. It takes really two insecure people, or even just one, let's just be honest, dealing with insecurities that they don't know how to manage, that manifest to unhealthy relationship. On the other side of the spectrum is the confident person, and it's that confidence that fuels that boldness and authenticity, that also fuels that honesty, trust, and respect, that then fuels that healthy relationship. And it's just, I don't want to say it's that simple, because it's not. I mean, these are words on the page, but there's a process, there's a building, there's certain steps, there's certain actions, there's certain activities, there's certain commitments, there's certain mindsets that you have to mold and shape to help you to be that bold person, to help you to be authentically who you are. There's some things that has to happen to get to that place, but it's very much possible. I've done it, and I know that you can do, and I have had my clients do it. For example, I think about Kiera. She said, after working with me, this is what happened. She was able to let go of insecurities. She said, I implemented everything, and I'm feeling great. I really enjoy exercising, and I'm excited to see the image and confidence transform. I'm getting my whole life, right? And I'm super excited to see what's next. Second thing, let's talk about the second secret that I want to reveal tonight, which is the one thing I did that totally renewed my mind and accelerated my results. Wouldn't you like to know? Come on, let's talk about it. Shatter fear. Yes, I shattered fear. And let me just speak to that a little deeply than that. It's like there's so many things that so many times we deal with fear, right? Can you resonate with that? Dealing with the fear of, I mean, in this times, it's so many things. The fear of death, maybe the fear of cancer, maybe the fear of getting in a car accident, maybe the fear of getting stopped by the police. Unfortunately, that's a real fear in today's time. There's so many fears that you may have. Fears that you're and not good enough. Fear that somebody won't love you for who you are. Fear that, all these fears, fears that you'll be single forever. it can paralyze you, and it can cause you to have a skewed perspective on life. But you have to shatter that fear. You have to shatter that fear. Let me tell you about my sister girlfriend who I work with, and shared about how she was able to shatter fear out of her life. She said, working with Joe had been the catalyst to me letting go of 4 year unhealthy relationship and becoming more aware of how I engage with men in general. And not only does she was able to do it in her personal life, but also in her business. And now I'm happy to say that she's engaged to be married. And it's a super exciting thing, but she had to let go of the levels of insecurities, and she had to let go of the level of fears of fearing of how people are going to perceive her and how she was going to show up. And she's got to the other side of that. And now she's manifest her boo and an amazing job. So it's been a great journey for her. All right, let's talk about the third thing. Let's talk about the third thing. The third secret, you can change the type of man you attract in your life in less than 3 months and be engaged in a year. Who want to be about that life? Come on, somebody. Okay, so here is one of my clients who shares her story. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because you see it's pretty lengthy here. But she pretty much, before she was working with me, she was having the most, like you would think she was getting punked on the show, some of the experiences that she had had. And it was frustrating. It was discouraging. And when she worked with me, she learned how to be very intentional with dating with men and how to establish boundaries and really just receive ways to connect with God and with a man in a meaningful way. And she's dating seriously on track to be engaged to an amazing man and the love of her life. So listen, and it was amazing to see within months how this transformed. Okay, let's talk about what all I've tried, because your girl, yeah, was out here trying some different things, just trying to be successful and trying to be intentional, was doing what people told me to do. So, have you tried going to single conferences and events? Have you tried dating in the church? Have you tried dating online? Have you tried taking a break from dating? Have you tried abstaining? Have you tried the 90-day rule? Does any of this sound familiar? Does any of it? Okay. Okay. Right. So I find in my own journey that I was at a crossroad. I could keep, and you're going to find yourself, you're going to be at a crossroad. You have to get to the place that you're saying this is where you are. You go, at this point, you got to keep doing, you want to keep doing what you've been doing, or you're going to try something different. Problem. For me, I only knew how to do what I've been doing. Because if I knew to do something else, I would have did it. One of my coaches said it this way: if you could have done it, it would have already been done by now. If it could have been done, you would have already done it. I mean, obviously, that's just the truth. And then the confession, something had to change. And I hear stories, and you probably heard the story with about Les Brown sharing a story about this guy and his dog, and how this man was just walking down the street, and every day he walked down the street, he heard this dog just moaning, right? The dog was moaning. He was like, "What's up with your dog? Like, I've been walking out here day one, day two, day three, day four, day five. I'm on my sixth, seventh day walking, and all your dog is doing is moaning and groaning. What's happening with this dog?" And the owner said, "Well, he's on a nail." It's like, well, why would your dog be sitting on a nail, ma'am? That got to be painful. Well, it's not hurting bad enough for him to get up. Let that resonate with you for a moment. It's not hurting bad enough to get up. So you have to ask yourself the question: is it hurting bad enough for you to want to get up? See, I had to take a leap of faith and invest in what I wanted. Confession. It was hurting, and I needed help to get off of this nail because it was causing me so much pain. So what did I do? I took action. I took 7 bold steps. And the result, within 6 months, I attracted the man of my dreams. Let's talk about these 7 steps. Step 1, I had to let go. I call this the detox, right? This is a detox process where we just really go through and purging and cleansing and cleaning and purifying. And it's like we just going right. I had to kind of let all that go, because with that It was impeding me from trusting. And you have to know that trusting is one of the fundamental pillars of having a healthy relationship. So I couldn't continue to have all this baggage and all this pain and all this gook. I had to detox. I had to release things, mindsets, people in my life. Next thing is become more attractive. And I started attracting the right man, just like honey, like honey, just like a bee is attracted to honey. Listen, it became so natural because I just started being more attractive. The third thing was clarity on what I was and what I was not. And get clarity on, like, I wasn't no longer trying to pretend to be somebody that I was not. The next thing was learn how to express my feelings, needs, and desires without turning the man off and releasing fear and being more confident and bolder and more bold in just what I asked for, how I engaged, how I communicated. Number 5, avoid attracting the wrong guy or compromising. Number 6, I had to have a man, learn how to have a man chasing me rather than the other way around. And lastly, engaging in meaningful interaction that kept a man wanting to spend more time, energy, and resources with me. Now, let me share with you a story. When I changed my process, I absolutely was able to change my results. It was just like, it was amazing how all that unfolded. It was like as I started to change, then my results started to change. And I remember it like it was yesterday when I first came across my amazing husband. And it was, first of all, I was like, oh my God, like this already is starting out like too good to be true. And you know what they say? If it's too good to be true, it's probably is. No, it doesn't have to be. Like every relationship, we get so addicted to pain, we get so addicted to dysfunction or accustomed to, right? That type of mentality, that type of relationship, when something that's genuine and when something that's pure and healthy, it does seem foreign because it's foreign to you, right? It was foreign to me. And but in that moment, I realized that this was something different. I knew it was something different. I could feel it in every fiber of my being. And to prove me right about that, within 2 months, this man was asking me to be his girlfriend. And within a couple months thereafter, he was asking me to be, pretty much we were talking about marriage and rings and wedding budgets and size and dress size, all this type of stuff was the conversation. And needless to say, within 12 months of us meeting, we were engaged. And then 6 months after that, we were married. We would have gotten married a lot sooner because we went to the Justice of Peace. We signed the paperwork, but I wanted my mother to be there for my wedding. So I was like, sorry, but we gonna have to wait. Well, that was in July, August, September, October, November. So 4 months, 4 additional months we waited just to allow the family to be a part of that and not to do the whole eloping thing. And I would have been happy either way. We still would have had a wedding even if I eloped. But anyway, the whole point of it is it didn't take a whole lot of time. And the whole time, as you've seen this picture, we had an amazing time. We're still having an amazing time. We are friends, we are lovers, confidants, and supporters of each other's vision and dream. And it's a beautiful thing. And I want the same thing for you. I want the same thing for you. So let's continue to just have this conversation. Let me ask you a question. If I could give you an opportunity to follow the same exact process so you can be successful in your dating life, would you be interested? Okay, perfect. I'm glad that you will, right? Because for the past hour, if you would agree that this has been time well spent so far. And the truth of the matter is, I can't cover everything you need in an hour. So, how would you like to work with me for 6 months? Blank, blank, right? It used to be 7 weeks, and that 7 weeks is if you do my online academy. But if you want to work with me for 6 months in my program, you can get a comprehensive solution so you can get everything you need and that you want, and especially just to get equipped for your dating life and for your dating relationships. So the program is called Ready for Love Program. All right. So let me share. If it's okay, I'd like to share a little bit about that program with you in just a few minutes. But before we go there, as I mentioned, information alone is enough. You got to take transformation out. You have to get to transformation. I always say knowing is half the battle. However, knowing may be half of the battle, but knowledge, knowledge is half the battle, but implementation execution is the other half. So I went over a little bit about my 7 steps. Here, the 7 steps are more in terms of the 7 steps in the program that we go over a 6 month period. Detoxing, releasing from your past, step one. Step two, uh, best self activation. How do you activate your highest and best self? Step three, we go into identification and clarification, making sure you know exactly who you are, who you represent, how you show up in the world, make sure how you want to be perceived, you're being perceived, which gets into really the self and social awareness aspect of it. So many people I see are totally unaware of how they are showing up and how they're being perceived. And that's a big deal, especially if you're not being perceived the way that you want to be perceived, right? That's a problem. The next thing is the process and evaluation. So I show you the process of dating all the way from the initial meeting all the way to the marriage. Like there's a whole process. One thing I heard one apostle says is marriage is and dating is very academic. And so there is a process, and you need to know what that process is, and to identify if you're on any what stage you're in the process, if you're not in the process at all. Because for so long I see women spend 6, 7, 8 years, 2, 3 years in relationships, and they're not really even in any of those processes or stages. They're somewhere off the map in Netflix and chill land, right? And not in the land that they need to be, in the land that they want to be. The next thing is positioning. The next thing is positioning. Positioning yourself. I always say you can't show up the same expecting different results. Like, how can you position yourself in the right places, but even more so with the right persona, with the right energy, like all of that. Lastly, but definitely not least, how to be purposefully dating and courtship and engaging and engagement all the way to the altar. I show you those processes over each one of these are a module, and then within that module, I have different mini trainings to break each step down as sub steps to these, so you can have bite-sized pieces to make it very digestible for you, easily digestible. All right, who this has worked for? Women who have achieved success in every area of their life except in the area of relationships. Women who seem to always attract the wrong type of men, and women who struggle with the fear of rejection or abandonment from a man. Women who are people pleasers and don't get their needs and desires met. That's you. This is for you. Now let's talk about who this is not for, because this program is absolutely not for everybody. This isn't for women who have a history of successful relationships getting what she wants and needs. Like, this isn't for you. Women who are able to get what she wants and needs from a man, from love to a ring. And women who show up boldly and confident with a man and can create natural connections and deep connections, not just sexual connections, right? And but more even spiritual, mental connections effortlessly. All right, so here's all the things that's within the program. The 7 love principles I teach over time. Um, and also, you get the mark exercises to learn the skills to attract the one. You learn about how to fill up your cup with love and joy so you can overflow and share that with others and become like and contagious, if you will. Sample online dating profile and training on how to attract and meet a high value mate. But let me just say this: old habits die hard. Old habits die hard. We tend to keep doing what we've always done because that's what we know to do, and it just can become a vicious cycle. Disposable income. Disposable income is the income that you have that you spend on different things that you want. I mean, come on, a lot of times, even in this season, especially in this time, There's been so much shift. Restaurants has been closed for extended period of time. People haven't been getting gas for an extended period of time. But I bet you realize that your money is still disappearing out of your account, even though you're not going to the gas station, even though you're not headed to the restaurant and eating out as much as you like. For some reason, you still realize that your balance is still being depleted in your account, because that's part of what we call your discretionary income, or and even some is like the disposable income. And you pick and choose what you invest in. So you might have been spending more money on t-shirts or Amazon or tissue, right? All these other things, maybe loading up on food for weeks on end and other things. So this is disposable income, and that's a discretionary type of income. So that means you have discretion over that income. And generally speaking, most people have at least 20 to 30% of their income is what we consider discretionary or disposable. And it's up to you to decide how you want to use it. You can either use that on frivolous things, on clothes, shoes to look cute, or you can invest that thing into your life, into a coaching program that will really change the trajectory of your life, that will change the future for you and your children, the ones here or maybe the ones that's yet to come. Like, this is such a big deal, but you have to decide. Like, it's past time for you to decide, are you going to spend more money on investing in yourself than you do on a vacation? That's oftentimes, or even not just the money, but time. Are you going to spend more time investing in your future marriage than you do planning for your next trip? Right? I'm all about trips. We're going to take a retreat and all of that. And that's going to be an opportunity for you to join us in Cabo. But this is bigger than just a weekend getaway, because even at that retreat, it's going to be a 4-day, I don't want to use the word intensive. It's going to be a 4-day intentional journey where you're really going to be learning from me and some of my super friends about how do you groom yourself as a wife. It's called the Queen Esther Experience, and it's going to be a dynamic experience. So you have to decide if you're going to make it a priority to be there. If you didn't, okay, so I want you to actually go over to, let me go a couple slides up actually, because I actually am going to make a call for you to book an appointment with me, because this again is not for everybody. This is by application process, and I want to talk to everybody that I let in my group coaching program, because I want to make sure it's a good fit for me, and I want to make sure it's a good fit for you. I don't want anybody signing up that for whatever reason is not a good fit. And so we need to go ahead and lay that out there and find that out now. So, I want it to be a mutually beneficial relationship for the both of us. So what I want you to do is head over to tinyurl.com/talkwithjill. I want you to head over to tinyurl.com/talkwithjill. Choose a time on my calendar, and then we can talk about what is the next steps for you. Choose a time on my calendar, and then we can talk about the next steps that is for you. So I want you to head over there now. If you haven't already, head over there. I got a couple things for you. I want to share this. You have two choices. You can take the information I provided and do it yourself, which is 100% risk-free, or you can take a leap of faith, pony up the small investment, and start really having a life that you desire. And so tonight, you don't even have to make a decision about the investment. You just have to make a decision about the call, which is tinyurl.com/talkwithjill, and go from there. So thank you so much for joining on tonight. I look forward to speaking with many of you about what's the next steps for you, and see if this group coaching program is right for you, and we'll go from there. So thank you for joining. Have a good night. Be blessed.